this all happened when I went on a cultural weekend visit to London with my parents, and we ended up at Highgate Cemetery. And I got fed up of looking at the tomb of Karl Marx and began to notice the antics of this gravedigger who was struggling with his shovel, a spindly youth. I thought, I'll show him, I'll dig my own grave, as it were. And I had a lolly stick left over from a lolly, obviously, which I'd enjoyed earlier, outside Buckingham Palace, and I dug myself a grave. Needed a corpse, I found it in the form of a maggot. Plenty of those in the graveyard, of course, Jules.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
Anyway, I was quite proud of what I'd done. And my father said, very nice, Brian, but haven't you forgotten something? I said, what's that, Dad? He said, you failed to read the last rites. No, I knew nothing about this. But with the logic of a child, I thought that the corpse had to be present and indeed alive to receive the last rites. So I tried to revive it, because it was dead, yeah. And I'd had to club it to death with a lolly stick, because it was alive initially.
Not a
but
good
anyway,
scene.
I said, wake up, maggot. Wake up, I believe there's something I have to say to you. Suddenly noticed this gravedigger produce a notepad and pen from under his work clothes, giving me a brief glimpse of a tartan waistcoat. Little clue for you there, Jules. And he took down my words, which later became, albeit in a modified form, the opening lyric to the rock classic Maggie May.
How dare he? How dare he?
And I received no credit for that.
Dear, well, maybe...
Though Rod was clearly grateful, he offered me a pear drop, which you might think's a sinister act. But it's not, because, you know, Rod at the time lived above a sweet shop which his parents ran on the Archway Road. He'd have had a plentiful supply of sweets, constant access to them, would have needed to download them.
And you just got the one pear drop, not a quarter pound.
I think I had two, Jules.
Your enormous influence didn't end with the 70s at all. Tell us about the early 80s. We're going to see a bit of Howard Jones shortly. Is there anything you'd like to say about him?
Yes, my influence had begun to wane by the 80s, and I met Howard Jones when I was rock bottom. I was working in a cling film factory in High Wycombe.
Nice.
And I thought at least I'd be safe from influencing rock stars, but no, because on the bench next to me was Howard Jones. And I gave him some advice, very foolishly. Well, I thought he would amount to nothing. He seemed such a simpleton, constantly grinning. And because of the noise of the machinery, I had to mime my suggestions in a Gabriel-esque fashion. Peter Gabriel.
Of course. Yes. Well, you know everyone, don't you?
Well, I do. I helped him, but that's another story. And he only went to nick that idea, didn't he?
He never.
Howard, when he
never.
left
do that? Oh.
with the what's it, the mime artist, Jed Hoyle.
Yes.
Why didn't he ask me? Don't you?
He didn't even ask your permission?
No, he didn't.
So he took your whole routine and that was it?
Well, no, he just took the idea of the mime artist.
I think we need to illustrate just how extraordinary
is this
this
new
is.
song?
Eerie.
Is this new song?
This is new song.
It's not new at all. He heard me whistling that in the staff toilets.
Well, that was obvious.
Here's Howard
shocked.
Jones. Was he influenced or was he not influenced by an Appleton? Let's see. This is new song.
It was obvious, wasn't it?
I would say they should ban mime artists. Another influence, possibly from Mr. Brian Appleton. He certainly thinks so. That was Howard Jones and new song. I'd like another illustration, perhaps a musical one from you. What can you tell us?
Yes, well, I've got a melodica here, which I can't play. You know, I never could. I got this when I was 6, Jules.
Did you know?
And I tried to smash it up in frustration. Now this, quite uncannily, anticipates the antics of Messieurs Moon and Townsend from The Who by about 6 months.
Of course it does.
I'm not saying they were copying me, but it's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it?
Oh, it's a spooky coincidence.
I mean, they were a pair of nutters. It would have been nothing to come up to Selly Oak in Birmingham, where I grew up, and look over the right garden wall and see me at it. So I was trying to do that. I don't know, the verdict's open on that one.
It is.
But it proved to be indestructible, you know, which is probably why education authorities were promoting it so heavily in the mid-60s. Also, it's good for posterity that it was indestructible, because I went on quite unwittingly to write the first progressive rock song.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Absolutely, about a year before the Moody Blues came out with Days of Future Past.
Are we allowed to hear a little bit?
You are, Jules. In a minute, please be patient.
Well, I'm excited.
If you will. Now, you see, all the conditions were right to create progressive rock. I was an only child growing up in the Selly Oak district of Birmingham, nothing to do but look longingly at the chocolate factory in Bourneville. And my father bought me Sparky's Magic Piano, exposing me to classical music. At the same time, I became highly immersed in children's fantasy fiction, like the Enid Blyton's psychedelic masterpiece, The Magic Faraway Tree, and the Narnia series.
Oh, yes.
Now, you might argue that the missing ingredients to produce progressive rock was hallucinogenic drugs, but I was exposed to those too, in a way, because I used to make model aircraft.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the cement You know, it could
Well,
produce quite a
polystyrene
heavy
cement,
state.
yeah.
Don't try that at home, kids.
Absolutely
absolutely
not.
not.
Not
And
recommended.
one night I'd just made a Hercules, and it was quite a messy job. The windows were shut, it was winter time. So I was tripping, Julia, definitely. And I wrote what must rank as the first progressive rock song, because I thought I saw Lucy from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe come out through my wardrobe. Now,
As
you'd
you
think
would.
my first instinct would have been amazement that she'd chosen my wardrobe. No, it was actually concern that she'd get back to Narnia and complete her work there, because as far as I knew, it was still winter. Aslan was still prisoner. Do you know what I mean? Here we go. Are you ready for this?
Oh, like it.
I'd sing it on the melodica, but you wouldn't hear the words very well.
No, it's a good point.
Lucy, you've got the wrong wardrobe. The professor isn't here. Just me and a gunk called Robert, and I'm pleased to meet you, my dear. Lucy, you've got the wrong wardrobe. I would love for you to stay, but Aslan waits for you. Aslan waits for you. And I was nodding my head as well.
Very
nodding
good,
my
yeah.
head, which anticipates
That started a
heavy
trend,
metal.
yeah.
Here we go. Lucy, you've got the wrong wardrobe. The professor isn't here. Just me and a gun called Robert, and I'm pleased to meet you, dear. Lucy, you've got the wrong wardrobe. I would love for you to stay, but Aslan waits for you. Aslan waits for you. Aslan waits for you.
It says it all. It says it all.
Well, because I'm
Fantastic.
28
Brian.
minutes, but
It's marvellous
Well-
stuff. We'll have to leave it there, Brian. It's been an education. We'll see you on tour in March and April with John Shuttleworth. Look forward to that.
the final insult.
Oh, yes.